Welcome back to Let's See History, a series where we are exploring old photos, books and art from around here in the northeast of England, and in the future maybe a little further afield as well, and revisiting locations, reshooting old photos and learning about the past, the present and sometimes the future of some very interesting and often historic locations. A couple of weeks back it was actually my birthday and my girlfriend very kindly got me a couple of local books. This one, History of Hartlepool, is a rather detailed and thorough account of Hartlepool's past. And this one, Hartlepool as it was, which compiles a collection of old photos and sketches of Hartlepool over the years. For this episode of Let's See History, we're heading over to Hartlepool Headland, the historic heart of Hartlepool. It could be said that the headland has had multiple different lives, as a small fishing and trading settlement, as a key religious centre for Celtic Christianity, as a medieval stronghold, a thriving maritime hub, a key defensive position in the wars, and as a cultural and historical landmark that continues to shape Hartlepool's identity today. So we're going to head to the headland and visit some locations pictured in this book. We're going to reshoot some of the scenes as they are today, as we cover some of the many stories that the headland has to tell. To start this historic tour around the headland, we are heading down on a Pilot Pier, named such as it was historically used by maritime pilots who would guide ships safely into Hartlepool's harbour. The pier has undergone several reconstructions over the years, evolving to the changing needs of Hartlepool's shipping and fishing industries. We are heading down onto the pier to reshoot the photo on the cover of the book, a scene that has changed quite drastically. The point on the pier where the photo was taken is a vantage point with views of the medieval town wall, Sandwell Gate, the Town Hall, St Mary's Immaculate Conception Church and of course St Hilda's. This photo, used on the cover from what little information I could find, was taken in 1900. Most of the buildings here either no longer stand or have changed beyond recognition. Some notable features here are the town wall, built in the 14th century to protect against Scottish raids. The small section pictured here being part of the only stretch of the wall that still remains today. On the left, the archway through the wall is Sandwell Gate. The pointed roof on the far left is from the Borough Hall. Now as the photo I took fades over and we travel over 100 years through time, you'll notice some major changes. Noticeably, two spires vanish. The spire on the left that vanishes is from a building that has been demolished, that I can find very little records of, that I believe was St John's. And to the right of that is St Mary's, which does still stand, just now without its spire. On the right, St Hilda's is revealed, no longer hidden behind buildings. The beach in the foreground is Fish Sands, once a busy fishing hub, now a quiet little cove. Now walking down onto Fish Sands itself, standing in the shadow of the old town wall, we're going to take a closer look at Sandwell Gate, the old arched passageway onto the beach which stands alone as the only passage through the wall. But that wasn't always the case. In this undated image with historic Sandwell Gate on the left, there is another passageway to the right. This was the fish wagon entrance, which, as the local fishing industry changed over the years, became obsolete and has since been bricked up. Through Sandwell Gate is a set of stairs leading up to the modern street level, but again a different story is told as we step back in time, shown by these photos, depicting the old street that once stood behind the medieval wall. If we walk a little round the headland, we find ourselves here, which in the modern day looks pretty unassuming. But if we jump back in time, in this photo, there was once a seawater bathing pool, sheltered from the harsher sea conditions by the breakwater. This pool was once a popular venue for leisure, sports and entertainment up until 1951, when heavy storms destroyed the popular structure. It was never rebuilt, and if you know where to look, you can still see the remnants of the old Lido today. The shape of the old wall is still just about present, and the foundations of the pillars from the viewing platform are still visible along the wall. Heading now past the War Memorial, which features a sea air worn plaque and a picturesque garden centred around a statue, on to the most eastern point of the headland, to the Heugh Lighthouse and the Heugh Battery. I have an old photo here of the lighthouse that I cannot reshoot, not without swimming in the North Sea anyway.
That is that.
This photo features the world's first gas-lit light, built in 1847, which stood on the same site as the modern lighthouse today, a key structure and location for the local maritime industries for centuries. Beside it sits the Heugh Battery, now a museum preserving the headland's military history, once a key defensive position during the wars. The battery became famous as the site of the bombardment of the Hartlepools, when German warships attacked the town, causing significant damages and casualties on December 16th, 1914. This attack also marks the first soldier killed on British soil during the war. Just north of the battery we find ourselves at the Town Moor, a historic open space that has been used since medieval times. Traditionally it has been used for grazing livestock, and it's also been used for public gatherings and military musters. The moor offers panoramic views out over the coastline. This is one of the few scenes that really hasn't changed all that much. This old fort was from the Edwardian period, and note the shaping of the paths and the grass and the railing and the houses on the top middle left with the gable dormer windows. These have all remained pretty faithful over the more than a century that has passed between then and now. Heading in now to one of the most iconic landmarks on the headland, St Hilda's. The headland has a long and rich religious history, and St Hilda is at the centre of a lot of that. St Hilda, who is the patron saint of learning, culture, literacy and poetry, was the abbess at Hartlepool Abbey from around 649 until her death in 680, including the period between 657 and 680, where she founded Whitby Abbey, where she too was an abbess. The old monastery, which stood on the same site as the church today, was an early Northumbrian monastery, built only 5 years after the first monastery on Lindisfarne in 640. It was, for a while, a key centre in Celtic Christianity. St Hilda's was built in a mix of early English, Norman and Gothic styles in the late 12th and early 13th centuries by the Bruce family, the very same Bruce family from which Robert de Bruce descended. This is a drawing of the church from around 1850. Now, of course it is an artist's impression, and so lining up a modern photo with it precisely is somewhat of an impossibility, but I think I got it pretty close. Since then there have been some changes, most notably an extension and a new roof, but the church hasn't really changed all that much over the many years that it has stood. I think it's safe to say that for being over 700 years old, St Hilda's isn't looking too bad. Leaving the churchyard, we find ourselves on the High Street, home to well-loved chippy Verrill's. Once this street was lined with shops and houses. It even used to host a bustling market, but now there is only Verrill's, a few houses, and the Croft Gardens. Oh, and the Squircle. It's clear that the days of this high street being a hub of community activity are behind us. Now the street and the green space around it make for a nice walk. Oh, and prime seating to wolf down a half-piece. Just past the Squircle sits Hartlepool Borough Hall. Built in 1865, this big beautiful brick building hosts events and festivals, and of course features the spire that we could see on the far left of the first photo that we looked at. Hopping over now to the other side of St Hilda's, onto Durham Street. Once another busy road, home to numerous religious buildings, now it's a quiet, mostly residential street. Jumping back in time, this used to be called Brougham Street. The church that stands here today is St Mary's Immaculate Conception Church, a Roman Catholic church which once boasted a spire that was removed in 1946 due to concerns over its condition and safety. In this photo you can see another building with a spire that no longer stands today. After many hours of research and very little to show for it, I believe this may have been St John's, but there is little to no documents of this building even existing, just a few old photos.
Oh, that's a nice spume.
And that rounds up our tour of Hartlepool Headland, a beautiful and historic little slice of the northeast that many locals have never even been to, never mind folks from further afield. I can say from experience that it is well worth a visit. I usually go there each week with my granddad for a coffee and a bite to eat and a wee walk around the headland to see what seabirds we can spot. I would personally recommend dropping into Mary Roundtree's. It's a cafe stroke Thai restaurant in a converted Methodist church just up from Pilot Pier. Sit upstairs, it's a hell of a view out the window. On a clear day you can even see the transporter bridge. The headland, as I hope I have shown in this video, is steeped in history, built with beauty and a prime spot for stunning vistas out off to sea or off and over Teesside. If you've watched the video this far, I just want to say thank you. I put a lot of time into research and shooting and editing and writing these videos, so I really do appreciate you sticking around. If you've liked this video, then please do hit the like button. It is a huge boost for the channel. And if you've got any facts or history or stories of the headland that I've missed, then please do share them in the comments. If there is anywhere in specific that you'd like me to visit for the next episode of Let's See History, then do let me know, because you never know. Also, thank you to DMZ, I probably still haven't said it right yet, who commented on my last Let's See History episode and suggested Hartlepool Headland. I hope you've enjoyed. If you would like to see future episodes of this series and all of the other content I post on this channel as well, then hit subscribe and stick around. There is a whole lot more on the way. Sound for watching. I'll see you in the next one.